So finally I'm ready to build the articulating arm part, and I don't see anything wrong with this actually as far as how it's made, and being in 3 pieces like this, I think this is pretty much ideal. The only thing that I think that I want to change is the overall length of this part right here. I don't think I need as much range as I had before because I never used it. I made this originally to get down almost to the floor level and very rarely did that. And I mean, if I have to do that, then I can use a small short tripod or something like that instead of this. So I'm going to shorten this up by about, I don't know, 8 inches. Of course, I'm not going to be using this, reusing this. I'll have to make a new one. And I've got some spruce here that I'm going to use to make the parts just the same as I used here before. I'm using this primarily because it's very light. Also, it's easy to work with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this to strips that are 3/8 of an inch thick here on the table saw. And then what I'm going to do is cut each strip down to 1 inch wide. Before I cut these down to 1 inch wide, I cut them to 24 inches long on the miter saw, and these will be the long arm, and they need a slot in the middle, and this is the way I generally do things. I don't cut the slot afterwards. I make the slot by gluing the parts together. So the piece that I cut off when making these 1 inch will fit in between and should give me enough space for a 3/8 inch bolt to fit in there nicely, and that looks good. So what I'll do now is I'll just cut these to length with my mini table saw sled, and then I'll bring everything over to the workbench and glue it up and clamp it. While the glue is drying on that, I can get started on this middle arm right here. In the original, it's made from the same material as the long arm, except it doesn't have a slot in it. But on this one, I think I'm going to use 1/2 inch plywood because I've got T-nuts that go in here, or at least one T-nut, and it needs to press into something that's not going to split easily, and plywood is the best for that. On the original, I rounded over the corners, but on this one, I'm just going to clip them off at 45 degrees. So like I said, I've got T-nuts that need to go in one of these, and it'll be this one over here. So I need to drill a 7/16 inch hole. That's what fits the outside part of the T-nut here. Will slip right in there. And then the other one I'll just drill 3/8 inch holes through. Well, the glue dried up on the long arms, and then I trimmed them to length. They're a little bit ragged on the end. I also clipped off the corners on the back end here. And I made this piece right here. And what this does, it has a T-nut in there, and it will slide along here. And then these ears on the side here, I guess you could say, will keep it from turning as it's tightened up. And when you look at the original, that's at that end up there. Now down at the other end, if we look at the original again, you'll see that there's a block in here that's glued in. I've got a block right here, and the difference is going to be that it is, well, it's thicker, but I didn't want to make it too big because I don't want excess weight there, so straight piece like that. And I'm just going to glue and clamp it at the end there, and then after the glue dries, I can drill the hole through. With the glue dried on that and the hole drilled, I'm gonna put part of it together here. I made these threaded knobs, I guess you could say, yesterday because I wanted to make sure that the epoxy had long enough to dry it and wasn't stripping out. So these are basic. These are pieces of 3/8 inch threaded rod, about 8 inches long. I cut a keyway in there with an angle grinder so it'll lock it into the just square handle that I made from spruce. So this goes together, this part goes together like this, okay? Thread, oh, I need a washer. I got a big 3/8 inch fender washer. The handle press against, and then that other end will go into the T-nut that we already pounded in. And see, I'm going to be able to get a lot of force on that very easily, and that'll never move, so that'll lock up really nice and tight. Like I just showed, I've got another one for the other end. This is the thing I showed earlier, and that clips over that. And this is going to go through the post that's already up on the thing. Gantry, that's what I was trying to say. And then this will be able to slide back and forth like this to adjust it, you know, up and down. So what I got to do now is I've got to drill a hole through this post up here, and probably would have been easier to do it before I mounted all of this, but didn't realize. Easy enough to do with the drill by hand. Drilling by hand like this straight takes practice, and I've had plenty of that. And I go so far from this side and then so far or halfway from the other side. And that usually helps to make sure it's absolutely straight. Yeah, I think that's going to work out best. I'll just reach around. Yeah. So you can see the range of motion this has. Goes all the way down or goes all the way up. Reaches up like that, and it can reach back as well. So not restricted in any way. And then I can really tighten it up super tight. Thing is still jittery, but not as bad as what it was. Last part to make was the part that the camera sits on, this short piece here. And so I went ahead and I made that. The big difference between these two is this is obviously a lot wider. And also I rounded over the end where the camera goes so that I could swivel the camera around for different views. And this goes on basically the same way. Just goes in there like that, and then the rod goes through, and then I'll tighten that up. Now I need to add a handle to it. See, this one here had this handle here that made very fine adjustments possible, and it goes off the side like that. And I could do the same here, but I'm thinking it might be better if I have it down, a handle that's sticking down like this so that I can do that. And then when I move it around, then it won't get in the way as much as that thing did, because that was always hanging up on these cords and whatever. So I'll do it that way. Try it anyway and see how it works. Okay, I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's going to work out great. And then just move everything around like this as need be. I mean, I can come right back like this. Yeah, this is looking good. The only thing is to actually try it out with the camera on here and see how it works. But I don't have any doubt that it's going to be fine. Like I say, there's still a little bit of wobble here, but certainly not as much as there was before. And anyway, I can really, the big improvement is that I can really tighten it up now, and it's not going to move anymore like it used to.